Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackIron79.com, and I'm back here with another hand history review for you guys. So today's hand was sent to me by Eugene from Russia. This hand, as you guys can see here, was played at 2 cent, 5 cent on Party Poker in the fast forward games, kind of like Zoom on PokerStars. So 6 max, let's jump right into the action. So folds to Eugene on the button with pocket sixes. And what should we do here? Well, actually, before we even talk about what we should do here, let's focus on the number one thing I always talk about first, which is stack sizes. It's important to realize in this hand, Eugene's got about 150 big blinds. Small blind has a regular stack of 100 big blinds. However, the big blind, who, spoiler alert, he will be the main villain in this hand, he has us covered. He's got about 200 big blinds. So this hand is going, the effective stacks in this hand will be about 150 big blinds. So that always does change the complexion of the hand a little bit. It means that we're going to have a little bit more maneuverability after the flop to make bluffs and big value bets. But it also means that we do need to be a little bit more cautious about getting a full stack in because we are a little bit deeper, and the standard of hand to go all to stack off with does go up when you're a little bit deep. So anyways, let's jump right back into the action here. So Eugene makes it 15 cents to go, 3 times the big blind on the button, pretty typical stuff. So the small blind does fold and the big blind makes the call. All right, so the information that Eugene gave me on the big blind here, villain 10, is that he is a 50, 38, 3. Now that is VPIP, PFR, and aggression factor. So if you guys remember from last week's video, we're actually up against the exact same type of opponent here, which is an aggro fish. This is a guy who, again, he's playing 50% of his hands. He can have a very wide range in this situation. And we also expect this kind of player to play back against us after the flop quite a bit. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward in the hand. So let's see a flop. Not really the greatest flop, to be honest. If I'm being honest with pocket sixes here. Villain 10 decides to check. And definitely going to agree with Eugene's decision here to just check behind. Now, this does depend on player type quite a bit. If Villain 10, for instance, was a typical kind of like 17-14 nit or something like that, I actually do like a bet here because I think that a player like that is just going to fold on the flop a lot. They're going to fold all their pocket nines, their pocket sevens. Maybe even might fold a 10 in this, a weak 10, something like that. So I do actually like making a continuation bet on this board against a tight, sort of weak player. However, we're up against the exact opposite type of player in this hand, up against an aggressive recreational player. I don't expect this player to fold any draw, any pair. I mean, he might even call us with ace high. I mean, we're ahead of that hand, but the bottom line is I don't expect to get many folds in this spot, so definitely going to agree with Eugene's decision to just check back. So the turn comes very favorable for us, as Andrew Nemi would say. With the 6 on the turn there, obviously we got the set, really good situation. So let's see what Villain 10 does. He decides to bet out in a situation like this. So what should we be doing here? Well, definitely in this spot, if you guys have read my book, Crushing the Micro Stakes, you know that I'm all about just fast playing versus the fish. So I'm going to highly agree with Eugene's decision here to bump it up. I like his raise size. It's about 3.5 times the bet size. Looks good to me, getting some value in there. Honestly, though, you could even go higher against a player like this. And once again, just considering that we are deep stacked, my goal always in a situation like this when I hit a huge monster hand is to stack this player. And I think, if we make it maybe $1 here, even $1.20, I think the river kind of sets up a little bit for a bigger bet, essentially, and potentially stacking this player. However, making 73 cents is fine as well, so we'll see what Villain 10 does. He decides to just call, and we'll go to a river. River brings another 10, obviously a really good card for us because we have the full house now. Potentially this player could have trips at this point. That would be a dream situation, of course, because recreational players don't fold trips. And I expect this player definitely to call down with if he's got top pair, possibly even an 8. I mean, with a player like this, you never know. So let's see what he does first. He does check to us, and Eugene decides to go for an overbet. I do like that. As I talked once again in Crushing the Micro Stakes, I'm all about making overbets on the river, especially in low stakes games against recreational poker players. Because I think, again, in the dream situation here where he has a hand like Jack 10, he's just never going to be folding here. So I do like the decision to go for an overbet here. I think you could go for a smaller sizing as well. You could just go for $1.25. But, once again, I really, I think that overbet shoves, or not necessarily a shove, but an overbet like this definitely work well against this kind of player. I do think that this kind of player will also hero call with a king here, which is really, really important. And the other thing to remember with recreational players is they're just not thinking about stack size. They're not, and in low stakes games like this as well, they're not thinking about, oh, it's $3.72. Nobody cares about that, right? It's a cup of coffee, right? So I'd really like the decision here to overbet. However, this is definitely interesting when villain 10 comes over the top here and essentially puts us all in. Guys, I don't think this is a situation where we can ever be folding. It's funny because in last week's hand, the exact same thing happened, I believe, on the river. We got raised. It's never a great situation. When you get raised on the river by any kind of player, even against an aggressive maniac like this, I do expect him to have some strong hands. However, against a player like this, guys, there's just no way on earth we're ever folding here. He could be honestly, he could be doing this with ace-king. Clearly could be doing this with any 10. I think a recreational player clearly overplays their trips here all the time. So I'm definitely just snap calling in this spot here. And similar to last week's hand, we just essentially have another one of these cooler situations. And, I'm just going to kind of say a lot of the same things that I said in last week's hand is that, guys, sometimes players like this just get lucky against us. You always got to remember that the shoe's always going to be on the other foot in the future sometime poker when he's going to have the pocket sixes, we'll have the king 10. The only thing you ever really need to ask yourself in a spot like this is, if we have the king 10 and he has the pocket sixes, is he ever folding to us? I think you guys already know the answer to that question. Of course he's not. There's no recreational player in history that's ever folded a full house. I mean, you just shouldn't fold a full house unless you're like 500 big blinds deep or something crazy like that. So, guys, pretty much just a cooler situation in this spot here. I think that Eugene, I think you played the hand fine. I think I really like the overbet on the river there. As mentioned, I think that a recreational player here, I think he'll call with ace-king. They'll hero call with ace-king, king-queen, king-jack. A lot of recreational players will hero call with those hands. And obviously, if he's got trips of any kind, I think he's going to be calling as well, so really, really like that overbet on the river there. And unfortunately, we just ran into one of the situations once again where we're up against an aggressive maniac who's simply on the top end of his range. And guys, there's just really nothing you can do about that in poker. It's going to happen. It's a cooler situation. The roles will always be reversed in the long run. So that's about all I got to say about this hand here. Thank you for sending me this hand, Eugene. I think you played it fine. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. So let me know your thoughts on this hand in the comments below. And as always, if you like seeing micro-stakes poker hand history reviews like this, make sure you give this video a like. And also subscribe to my channel. There's a lot of other channels on YouTube, guys, where I see them putting all these $10 million in the thumbnail and all this. And guys, honestly, I could start reviewing hands like that and get way more views on this channel. Nobody watches my video. What do I get? Like 2,000 views on this video? But the reason I keep making these videos is because these are the games that you guys are actually playing. I'm not making these YouTube videos to get to be some YouTuber, some influencer, be famous on YouTube. I'm making these videos to actually help you guys. So even if nobody's going to watch my videos, it's cool. However, if you find my micro stakes hand history reviews and strategy videos helpful here on YouTube, make sure you share this video with a friend. Tell people, hey, there are people out there that are making videos at, $2 games, $5 games, helping you guys with the strategy and the games that you guys are actually playing in. So anyways, lastly, make sure you download a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. It's called Massive Profit the Micros. Top link in the description below. That'll give you my complete strategy for these games right here. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.